What's going on, everybody? We're going to talk about some Bitcoin and a few other coins today, in the overall high time frame outlook that I have at this time. It's been a little while. The wife works from home now, so it's a little harder for me to take time to make a video. So I really haven't put one out in a while. But I'm going to start on the market cap chart. What's interesting is there's more Bitcoin now because, since this time, the entire time, people have been mining Bitcoin. So there's 1.8 million more Bitcoin now than there were at all-time high. So price doesn't need to reach the same level for the market cap to reach its all-time high. So looking at this chart, I think it's very possible that we see a push up here into the all-time high. We've really overcome the resistance, the last resistance already. There's definitely no volume in here. You can see the lack of volume. So in my opinion, it's pretty possible that we push up into the all-time high here. We're on a 3-day chart. You can see momentum is strongly positive. It's even been a long time since we've really had a red candle at all. There was one here. But since the beginning of October, we've had just a straight rip upward. And that's not terribly uncommon once you get a lot of fuel going. You see there was a red candle here, red candle here. But we're talking about November 12th to December, the end of December 15th really, was a straight rip upward. This hasn't covered nearly as much territory as this. So one thing that tells you is liquidity in this area before, during our first run up, was non-existent compared to the liquidity we have now. We've been moving up longer, but we haven't covered as much price as what we did here in a shorter time. There was just no resistance, absolutely no resistance in here, and it was a euphoric run upward. Right now, I don't really feel the euphoric nature of the market. I don't really see any euphoria going around. We're closing in on all-time high, and people on crypto Twitter are happy, making money, but I don't see the euphoria that we saw back here, which is a great thing. It means the move could be much more sustainable. It does not mean that we're just going to rip to price of 50K, 100K immediately. We're still going to have pullbacks, and you should expect that. You should prepare for that. Looking at the market cap chart, I think it's very possible. Let me redo that. That when we pull back, it pulls back to approximately this level. We had an impulse here. I mark out the impulse high. It's very possible that we continue up something like this and pull back into that zone. It's 27% pullback. Even from current price, if we were just to pull back from now, current levels, into the first support zone, we're looking at 23% to 36% pullbacks. And you should be familiar with the pullbacks during this run up. Let's flip to log so you can see them a little better. We had a high here and a pullback, 35%. High here and a pullback, 34%. High here and a pullback, 40%. 40%. So it's very possible to see a 36 or 40% pullback. We should not rule that out by any means. Let's move on over to the price chart. This is one I have published on TradingView, and you can follow it there. In my opinion, we had a corrective structure here from this high down. Was a corrective structure. I believe that this piece right here was all a basing pattern. And I believe we've started a new impulse out of that. How you count that new impulse, I don't care. I'm not counting it as like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type move. None of that matters to me. I believe we've started a new trend. If you really want to count waves, you can go back here and try to count all this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know. I don't care about the count of it. All I know is that we had an impulse and a correction, and then we just continued up with some impulses and corrections. But let's talk about this first. Impulse, correction. That looks pretty similar to me to what we had here with an impulse and a correction to the side. Now this didn't take as long. What if we actually are making something even more complex? Impulse, correction type move before more impulsive upside. That's very possible. This run, if we consider this the base right here, from this low, not the first low because this is all a piece of a basing pattern, kind of like this is a basing pattern. But from this low here, we spent how long impulsing? Over 2 years, right? 840 days. You're looking at about 1 year and 4 months almost. Excuse me, 2 years and 4 months almost. So could it be realistic that we've now started a 2-year move from this low of the base right here, where we are impulsing for the next 2 years? Call it, we're just going to make it 800 days even. There it is. Could we move up through this entire 800-day period? Also remember that trends accelerate. We would see it get steeper at the end before a pullback. It'd be absolutely nasty. This is realistic to me. To be quite honest, this is 100% realistic to me. Nothing I drew here says that it can't happen. That to me is very much the same as what happened coming out of this move. So currently I'm looking for something kind of like this. We continue up and we pull back. That happened right at the all-time high. And I already showed you how the market cap is already close to this. So on the market cap, let's measure the percentage of this previous one. from this level down was 34%. So market cap could fall even to this first support zone. And in the long run, it would just look like a blip. We'd quite literally be looking for something like this, where price reaches the all-time high on the market cap, pulls back, breaks that all-time high, pulls back one more time, and then we're off to the races. I don't see this as out of the question at all. When we get a 30% pullback, when we get a 35% pullback, people are going to be scared, but that's the time to be buying Bitcoin, making your investments. Let's turn the log back off. I'm going to delete this red line. So this is what I had already published. This is exactly what it looks like on the published version of this chart. But what price would we need to reach in order for market cap to reach that high? Based on these new circulating supply versus the circulating supply here, there's about 10.7% more Bitcoin out than there was here, which means that price would be about 12% down from the lows, 12% lower, or excuse me, 12% lower than the all-time high, 10.7, about 11%, not 12. So let's call it, that's 10.9 is close enough for me. 17.5. If we get to the 17.5 to 18K region, that would be a test of the highs on the market cap chart. So I'm looking for a rejection at some point in the near future. I don't know if it comes right now. I lean towards no. I don't know if it comes at 17.5 to 18, but that's my suspicion, is it comes in that range. Let's call it 17.5 and look for our 30% pullback. Looking at around 12,000. And we would likely have a wick through that and then find support. Excuse me, and then find support on it. So I've marked out an impulse high here, impulse high here. We also have an impulse high here. We've already tested this impulse high. You see we came up, we corrected down, up, tested the impulse high right here, and then pushed up through it. So we haven't tested this one, we haven't tested this one. Both of those should act as support. So I am suggesting primarily that any pullback is a buy. I saw the Amazon fractal on Crypto Twitter again today. The Amazon fractal is something I started tracking 14 months ago. We've already had this portion here. We're still somewhere in this last black push up. But after that last black push up, we had a massive pullback. We're not talking about 30%. We're talking about retracing most of this move, right? We can use a retracement tool, fib retracement, and it should be over 75% of this move. Yeah, it's like, say 85%. Is it possible that we finish this move? Let's leave it right there. And then pull back 85%. I don't think anybody can tell you this is not possible. Is it likely? For me, I don't really think so. The only way I see this happening is like a COVID 2.0. This was our dump caused by the first COVID lockdowns. If we were to see something similar, if COVID becomes a bigger thing, maybe the vaccine is giving people COVID, something crazy. We have to lock down these countries again. Maybe we do get a dump like this. But this is not my primary expectation anymore. That would imply that we have a large corrective structure like this. A, B, C. So it is possible. And this is a structure I love. And if we fall this far, I'm a major buyer looking for a significant upside. But right now, my opinion is that we have made some kind of base here, as I've already explained to you. And we can go look at other charts. We can go look at gold. So gold, high time frame. This is log. You can turn log off. But my uptrend line is from log. We had this massive impulse on gold. We pulled back. We formed a base here. And then we are impulsing out of that base through the all-time high. This type of pattern is nothing new. So just imagine there's an impulse up here, pullback, basing pattern, and an impulse out of it. And you can see here, we had this flat correction pattern right near the all-time high again. So this is not new. This is a pattern in many markets. It's not exclusive to Bitcoin. After making an accumulation pattern, a massive base, we impulse out of that base. You can see past Bitcoin. Pullback, base, impulse. I would say the base here probably ended right around here and impulse out. Same thing right here. This is the one we've already been talking about. Pullback, base, impulse, correction at the all-time high, and then continued to break through. So we're probably close to a corrective pattern. It could start now, could start at 18,000, could start at 20,000. Based on the market cap chart and the price chart, I think 18,000 makes a lot of sense. I don't know if we have enough juice to move up that high. Ignore the price here. This is the BLX, which only updates at the end of the day. Price is really 16 grand right now. So we're higher than what this shows. So my point in discussing this here, the Amazon fractal is great. You should keep it in mind. The reality that we're going to pull back at some point is very real. We could pull back 80%. Are we going to? Unlikely. It's about 67%. Could we? Yeah, we could. And you need to keep COVID and the world's situation in mind when discussing that. In my opinion, it's more likely that we just have a pullback that forms a continuation pattern for more upside, and this uptrend continues. Higher low, well, this is higher. This is the first low. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low for more upside into 2022. I don't see us topping out at 50,000. I don't see us topping out at 100,000. I think we push through both of those levels. From all-time high previously, we went up 1,600%. $16x. So why would our all-time high here be 20,000 and we only run to 100,000, which is 5x? I think we go significantly higher than that, and I think our uptrend has begun. Regardless, you should be looking to buy any significant pullback, even if it's only for a bounce. If we pull back 40%, we should get a significant bounce. All right, let's move on over to Ethereum. My thoughts here, high time frame, echo the same thing as what we have on Bitcoin. We had a correction in a base or an accumulation pattern here, and we've started a new impulse out of it. I do expect that we reach this next level, this resistance area here. How we get there is in question. We could pull back before coming up one more time. My suspicion is that we are in some accelerating pattern here to come up one more time. That could happen after Bitcoin moves up. If we're expecting 18K on Bitcoin, Bitcoin could move up to 18K, and then Ethereum's kind of chilling before it accelerates. But I'm expecting that to be pretty massive. Let me pull up I tried to have all my charts ready, but I did not have my market cap chart open on Ethereum. So on the Ethereum market cap, we've got this next level here. To reach this level, price would be approximately 690, which lines up well with the lower price here, right at 690. And you can see we found it as support here, and really deviated it before falling down. So I'm looking for 690 to essentially 800 to reach that next level on the Ethereum market cap from here to up in here. Let me duplicate this real quick right in here. And I would assume this probably lines up with approximately $800 market cap, but or $800 price. But I haven't done that math. I just did the math on this lower one. So I'm kind of watching here to see what happens next. Any pullback to like 360 type area, I am looking to buy that. And we had this high here, this support here, right at 360. If we start to move above this, I don't think it'll be a false breakout, but it could. We could very well see a running flat happen here. Where, let me just use this real quick and I'll change it to black. You could have something like this. The price comes up. But in my opinion, that's less likely than just continuing up or pulling back from the current price. If we go over and look at ETH Bitcoin, right now it looks like Bitcoin is really pushing pretty hard so that ETH is falling. I think that continues to be the case for a little longer. We probably retest this low here we go down to a daily, you can see we're really rolling over here. So in my opinion, it's very possible that we sweep this level right into this support zone here. Right. Well, let me just drag this other existing line over. We could come right in here and then begin this move up. And if we push down, I'm watching for Ethereum to really take the lead over Bitcoin for a while. Let's go back to the 3-day. And again, I'm watching momentum. I'm always watching momentum. Right now, both the daily, 3-day momentum are red. As we see those flip positive, that will really signal a high time frame transition into an uptrend, such as this move here. As we came down, we stopped here, we bounced, came back down, and really right in here, we bounced. And then we found rejection here and here. So this level for me has already been tested a couple times. I think we break through it, and our next resistance is where we bounced right here. I don't think that's a prolonged resistance. I think after we test this resistance again, we'll find support on this, what is now an impulse high. And I think we'll find support there for continuation to the upside. Ethereum high time frame, I'm exceptionally bullish. We would be looking for a pullback, maybe to the impulse high here. Let me get my paintbrush again. Maybe we pull back to the impulse high, and after that, we're off to the races into multi-thousands. There's a lot more Ethereum than there is Bitcoin. There's a lot more in circulation, a lot higher supply. So price doesn't have to go as high on Ethereum to reach similar market cap levels. I don't know if Ethereum catches the Bitcoin's market cap during the next run. Let's say that we do something like this, pull back. We're still nowhere near the all-time high market cap, not even close. If we test that level and pull back to, let's call it this high, this impulse high right here, we are still 160% below the all-time high. So that's a massive move, and we would expect the market cap to reach higher levels than the all-time high. Significantly higher levels. And again, there's going to be pullbacks. But we're looking at the ETH market cap probably reaching 300 billion easy, right? I mean, that's just a double from the previous all-time high. This is conservative. That's matching where Bitcoin's market cap is now. While Bitcoin's market cap, we're talking about reaching significantly higher prices. So in my opinion, ETH likely won't be that close on the market cap. We'll have to see. It could definitely go higher than 300 billion, but even if it only runs to 300 billion, if you buy this pullback, you're looking at a 400% run. we want this to look like this. Where it's up here. But right now it looks like a little more pullback on the ETH Bitcoin chart, which means that Bitcoin should be a priority over Ethereum until this finds support again. I don't believe you're going to miss a massive move from Ethereum if you wait for the MACD to find some support. Let's add MACD on here real quick. Maybe. There it is. Not trying to draw. So MACD is still looking pretty weak. We're not seeing any gain. We're not seeing it start curve to the upside yet. We do want to see that happen. So if that starts now, then it's possible that our MACD doesn't cross until here, which is, halfway into the move. So you probably don't want to wait for a 3-day MACD to change. Let me delete those because this is a saved chart in my Discord. If we go to daily, you can see it's doing a little better. So if it came down here one more time, we're going to have a bullish divergence on the daily MACD. And it would probably end up flipping in prices around this level and has at least 2/3 of my expected move left to go. So I am watching that. I'm also watching as low as the 4-hour time frame. I expect the 4-hour to turn red though. In fact, it looks like it is right now. Yep. 4-hour MACD has ticked red, and I think it continues down a little further. So Bitcoin is where the play is right now at this moment. All right, so I'm going to put this back on the 3-day where it started, and I've got to save the chart. If you guys are not in my Discord, I recommend coming to hang out with us. I have a ton of charts in here that I update, and you can just click the link and see this chart. This is what you'll pull up. You'll be able to scroll it, and you'll see my notes as I update my notes. I believe the entire market is reversing a downtrend. So it's messy when it's reversing a downtrend. And that's what causes trends to accelerate as we get back higher into the previous downtrend. There's less areas of resistance, allowing the trend to accelerate to the upside. Let's look at Zcash. Zcash is one that I'm pretty bullish on right now. Let me see if CoinTrader has more chart history on this real quick. Looking at a 3-day chart here. Yeah. So there's significantly more chart history available for Zcash. That's really the same, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to stick with the chart I have already. Since Zcash really launched at the peak price that it ever reached, it had a massive run back up in January 2018. So this is interesting. Most charts, we don't see this. We only see the run up, with USD prices being the highest in 2018. The Bitcoin chart, like if I were to look at Zeke versus Bitcoin, Zcash versus Bitcoin, most of them have two spikes, but most of the charts, the US dollar price was the highest here. So it adds a little more complexity that it's actually been falling longer. And now we've swept this low, right? We had a low here that we swept, and now we've started what appears to be a high time frame uptrend. And it has a halving, I think, coming up next week. And as you are aware, the Bitcoin halving typically becomes a catalyst for an upside move. So with the Zcash halving, it's very possible that the same thing happens. So we had a high back here, lower high. Tried to grab a paintbrush there. Lower high, lower high, lower high. This is the first time we broke that previous series of lower highs. So can we make a low and a higher low here by breaking this current high? That's what I'm really watching for, but I'm already long on Zcash, expecting this move up. It's possible that we don't get this move up. It's possible that it just rolls back over. But my primary expectation is that the entire market begins an uptrend. And you can see we swept this low, but we also have like a range deviation in this area. You can call this range really up into here. With a deviation here. So if we're now at the range lows, this is a good place to be buying to look for a reach up to the range highs. And that's a significant move on Zcash. Let's take current price up to the range highs. I'm talking about 630%. So this is a pretty good opportunity, even if we don't run to all-time highs. With the halving, I think this is halving, break of the downtrends, both the downtrend lines as well as the actual downtrend, and what appears to be a large scale trend reversal since March. All of those things combined, I think this is a good opportunity looking for a larger move to the upside. One that I got a request on was MTA, so we'll look at that briefly. Again, this is a saved chart in my Discord, so I got to clean it up a little bit. But let's flip over to MTA, and we don't really have all the chart history here, but the chart history shows that we're now at untraded lows. We've never been this low on MTA. And we still need to break this downtrend. We broke over the downtrend line, but that's not formally a break of the downtrend. Really, our lower high is here. So I would want to see us getting over this on a high time frame to suggest that we have fuel to make new highs. That's not even the right MTA. Yeah, I can't find it in a coin trader. I don't have the right one. We do have the 8-hour momentum is flipped to blue. What if we go to like daily? still red. So we want to see these flip positive. Now, in this downtrend, again, how I typically do it, we had an impulse that made a low right here. We had another impulse really here, and then here made a low, and here made a low. So we already recovered this one, right? In fact, this line here can be pulled over, but we found rejection right here at this next impulse low. Now we're finding support right here. In my opinion, this was a pretty decent level to be buying, 1.11. And you could have had your stop loss this is what log does to you. You could have had your stop loss below here. If you bought this line, stop loss here, and you target the next resistance, you're around 6.3 to 1 trade. If we fall back below this level, that suggests downtrend continuation here. We might get another test of this level. So in my opinion, it's not a bad idea to put some orders right in here. Maybe risk a couple $100, don't risk too much, and just wait for the trend to continue upward. And we'd probably find rejection right in here again. So ignore where the arrow goes. But watch each of these levels. Since we've already tested this one, it would, if we find support here, I would expect it to break on the next test of it. People have already taken their profits here. I longed down here. I took 30% off. I took 30% of my long off up here. Now I can add to that. Now I can add to my position here, looking for the next resistance, because I think this resistance would break since we've already tested that level. You can also just wait. You can wait for it to come up here and buy the pullback into the impulse high support. I was also asked my opinion on DeFi's role in the coming uptrend, in the upcoming bull market. And my answer to that is I really don't know what role DeFi will play. DeFi is not going anywhere. But YFI, for example, this doesn't look great. This could easily come back, roll back down. We had a resistance here that was a little bit front ran. On the downtrend, we made a low right here. And with the thick line, it looks like we got close, but we really weren't that close. This could easily roll back over and come to 5Ks. Now for me, if it does, 5 to 7K is a pretty good buy. Early signs right now say that we've broken out of a downtrend. But we need to see that it finds support. I would think that we would probably test this level again around 12,000. If we can find support like this, then that's great. But I don't necessarily think that DeFi is going to lead the next bull run. I think DeFi already had a bull run of its own. That if you didn't play that bull run, that's okay, because it's going to translate into the rest of the market beginning to uptrend. So I think DeFi has a place, but I don't think it's the narrative of the coming bull run. All right, guys, I think that's everything I've got. I'm sure I've already talked way too long. But if you have any questions, just hit me up.